All right, everyone, welcome to the second screencast for Chapter 3. In Chapter 3, we are introducing the supply and demand model that we're going to use throughout the semester. And in this screencast, we're going to introduce the demand side of that supply and demand diagram, all right? So what is demand? Well, when we talk about demand, it's important to make a distinction between two things. One is demand itself, and one is quantity demanded. So the quantity demanded is the amount of good purchased at a given price. This is going to be key, at a given price. All right, that's the quantity demanded. All right. So the law of demand tells us that all other things equal, or ceteris paribus, there is an inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded. Inverse just means that two variables move in the opposite direction. So as price goes up, the quantity demanded goes down. That's the law of demand, all right? And also, the opposite is true. As price goes down, we expect the quantity demanded of that good to go up. So there is an inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded, all right? So a demand schedule is a table that shows the relationship between price and the quantity demanded. So you give I give you a price, $5, and then it tells you what the quantity demanded of, say, cups of coffee is. Let's say on SJSU's campus, at $5, the quantity demanded of coffee would be, say, 100 cups of coffee a day. That's kind of expensive for coffee, so maybe if the price goes down, say, to $4, maybe we might expect 200 cups of coffee sold. So again, this is quantity demanded, and this is the price of the good, all right? So a demand curve is a graph of the relationship between price and quantity demanded. So the demand schedule tells you price and quantity demanded. The demand curve is just a graph of this table, all right? So for example, in the one, well, let's just wait. Let me show you a computerized version. It looks a lot nicer to see it that way than for me to draw it the first time. And then market demand is just the horizontal sum of all the individual quantities demanded by each buyer in the market at each price. All right. So you can have an individual demand curve. So how many cups of coffee would you demand at $5? How many cups of coffee would you demand at $4? How many cups of coffee would you demand at $3? But then you can also have the market demand, which would be maybe all of SJSU in a day. And the way you get one from the other is you just, when you find out how many each person would want, you just add them all up. All right. I'm going to show you an example here in a minute. All right. So here is a basic demand schedule for something like salmon. All right, so you can see we have the prices over here, and we have at $20, how much does Meredith, this is an individual demand curve, right, individual, how much does she demand? Well, at $20, she demands no salmon fillets. All right, and then you can see that her demand follows, her demand schedule follows the law of demand. As the price falls, her quantity demanded increases, all right? Price falls, quantity demanded increases, all right? So this is her demand schedule, all right? And at a high price, she has a low quantity demanded, and at a low price, she has a high quantity demanded. So now we can take this demand schedule for Meredith, an individual, and we can graph it, all right? With price is going to be on the y-axis, and the quantity demanded, or the number of salmon fillets demanded, will be on the x-axis, all right? So we can do that like this. So again, here is price. The price starts down here at 0, and it goes up to, for Meredith, we didn't have a number higher than 20, so maybe 20 is the height. So this is price. As price goes up, you get higher on the y-axis. And then this is going to be the quantity demanded, all right? As you move along the x-axis, we're demonstrating an increase in the quantity demanded. So what a point in this space tells you is at a given price, what is the quantity demanded? pretend that's a straight line, all right? So what we're going to do is we're just going to take all of these points from Meredith's demand schedule, and we're just going to plot them like you would plot them on a Cartesian coordinate. So when x is 0, the price of salmon is 20. When x is 1, y is 17.50. All right, so that's how we're going to build this in. All right, so and that what it looks like is this line. All right, this line in fact fills in all the different points. All right, so here are all the points that were on that table on the slide before. Remember, at a price of 20, she demanded 0. All right, this should be there's an error here. This should be $20. Right. So again, it's just a coordinate. It's the x value and the y value. So at 17.50, she would demand 1. At 15, she would demand 2. At 12.50, she would demand 3. And we've just plotted all these points, and then we've just drawn a line through them to indicate that it's possible that she could buy partial parts of salmon. All right, it's a continuous demand curve there. All right. So increases in price decrease the quantity of salmon demanded. The law of demand holds. All right. So now that was Meredith's demand at all of these prices, right? Meredith at 20 demanded 0, 17.51. Now we're going to introduce another person. Here's Derek. Derek has a different demand schedule. At 20, he still demands 0. At 17.50, he still demands 0. But at 15, he would buy 1. All right. So Derek has a little bit different demand schedule than does Meredith. And so to find what the market demand is, again, assuming that only Meredith and Derek are the only two people in this market, all we do is just add up the individual demands. So 0 plus 0 is 0. At 17.50, 1 plus 0 is 1. At 15, 2 plus 1 is 3. So the market demand schedule is just the individual demand schedules all added up. So we can show this graphically also. So first, let me show you Derek's and then Meredith's demand curve. So his individual demand curve is here. We've plotted all those different points. I'm just not showing all the detail because it would get a little crowded. And then here is Meredith's. We've plotted all those points just like we did on the bigger graph earlier. So all you do is you just add up. So at a price of 20, how many would they demand as a market? It's 0. And you just go across and you add up every price and you get the market demand for salmon. All right? So that's it for introducing demand. In the next screencast, we're going to talk about what moves someone's demand curve around, or what moves the amount that they buy up or down. Okay? So see you then.